Hi everybody, welcome to Module 3, Searching Literature. What we're going to do is go through how to access the databases through LaSalle College, and then we're going to look at some helpful tools that you may not know about on the database that will hopefully make your search a little bit easier. So what you can see on my screen is I've logged into my LaSalle. I like accessing the library just by clicking here on Library. Under Research Tools, you should be able to then access articles, ebook databases. And it may prompt you to log in. So if you do not yet have a library card number, you may have to contact the library in order to log into this site. So just make sure that you're able to do so. You can also use resources like Google Scholar. That's okay, but I do want you getting used to using the school's resources as well. For today's demo, we're going to use Sport Discus. So we are going to scroll all the way down to the S's. We're going to click Sport Discus with full text. For purposes of the demonstration, what we'll do is first we'll start out with a basic search. The advanced search are the options that are below, but we're going to kind of go through that after we type in our prompts. So what we're going to do is we'll look at ACL and rehabilitation. Now these words and, or not are called Boolean operators, and what that means is basically if we use and, then it'll combine both those words. If we use or, then articles that have ACL or rehabilitation will come up, so we'll get significantly more articles if we were to do that. And if we use the word not, then what we'll see is that we'll have ACL, but there will not be the word rehabilitation, whether it be in the title or whatever option we select over here. So under field options, right now we're leaving it open that these keywords can be found almost anywhere. But if we want to be a little more specific, you could select in the title, all text is a lot more broad, or within the keywords that may be supplied by the author. Okay, so let's just keep it as is. So we have ACL and rehabilitation. And we're going to see that there's quite a few articles that are going to pop up for us. So we have over 1,400 articles. So to try to help start narrowing these things down, what we're going to do is we're going to look on the left side of the screen. And what we can do is first we have limited to. In certain cases, you can limit to full text. This is typically when you're just doing a quick search. You may not have time to put in an interlibrary loan, and you just want articles that you can read right then and there. For our purposes, and especially when you do your review of literature, I encourage you not to click full text. Sometimes articles don't have full text on the database, but you can actually copy and paste and put that title into Google Scholar and access it full text, or you can complete an interlibrary loan through our library. So I wouldn't limit yourself just based on the ability to get full text through this database. References available, English abstract available. You're welcome to check either of those. I will encourage you, especially for your annotated bibliography assignment, is to limit your dates that how current the article is. So for the purposes of this demo, we're going to go back 10 years. So our span of articles is from 2007 to 2017. Our source types, we don't really want magazines. We want something that's peer-reviewed. So we're going to go with academic journals. So we're going to click academic journals. And then we can continue to scroll down, and you have subject or thesaurus terms. So these will give you various different combinations of terms that are similar to what you searched for. And you can further narrow your short search by clicking these areas. For us, we'll just click rehabilitation because for our purposes, it's what we've been focused on. Okay. Subject, this is more related to data analysis and statistics, so don't get caught up for at least our purposes. You don't need to focus on that. Publication, these are the journals that have put out the remaining articles. So American Journal of Sports Medicine. If you'd like to only look at journals or articles from a specific journal, this may be helpful to you. But for our class, we don't need to necessarily look at one specific journal. Then we have language and geography, which we don't really need for this class either. So as we look at our results, we have a little over 100 results that came from that search. We have the PDF full text. Typically, I prefer PDF full text. Just when I'm reading it, I like to see the original, but really any full text will do. Let's see. As you scroll down, we see in this article right here, although we don't have the full text option, we do have cited references, and we can see that there are 8 cited references. If we click cited references, what happens is the cited references within this article then pop up. So let's say this was a fantastic article. It's something that is so closely aligned to what we're researching that I really want to start tracking the references that they used. This is a great tool to start tracking those references, and then what you can find is you can actually click these articles and then further track them through the database. So this can be helpful to quite a few people, especially when you're doing a large scale search for different articles. So that's yet another tool that you can use. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our original search. Also with this website, if you are logged in, I am currently not signed in right now, but if you are, you can actually save your articles to a folder. This can be especially helpful if you're looking to do your search in multiple sittings. So let's say you're sitting in the library, you only have 15-20 minutes, and then you want to leave and go home and continue your search. You don't want to have to either print the articles or save them to your desktop or save them wherever else. You can actually just save them right on a folder in here, and that can be helpful to people. The last thing I want to talk about in relation to Sport Discus is up here under, well, first we'll go choose databases. So what we can do is we can actually add additional databases into Sport Discus. So let's say we're researching something that actually spans multiple disciplines. So let's say we're talking about educating our athletes. What we may want to do is include Academic Search Premier, Education Research Complete, ERIC, and maybe psychology articles to help supplement our search. Especially if we're doing some type of psychosocial research, we may want to add in additional databases to give ourselves a better chance of finding quality articles. So by using choose databases, you can actually broaden that search a little bit. Under publications, what you'll see is those databases that I just selected are now listed under these publications. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to Sport Discus with full text publications. And what you'll see is listed here is every single journal that is included in a Sport Discus search. So these little orange squares, what they do is it allows us to set up what's called an RSS feed, or it's actually a notification system that when something new happens in these journals, you get an email about it. So I've set up RSS feeds for AJSM, for the Journal of Athletic Training, for rehabilitation journals, and it's been really helpful because I can stay current on every time new information comes out in those journals. So right now I'll just show you, if we scroll down, we're in the A's, so we'll go next. Down here we have the American Journal of Public Health of Sports Medicine. So I've already set this one up, but what we would do is you click that feed and it'll prompt you to enter in your email address. You just enter in your email address and then you set up your alert and it'll send you emails every time something's new. So I'll show you my alert. So here's my email. And I have a separate folder for journal articles. I know I'm a geek. And so this alert is the Journal of Sports Rehabilitation. And what we can do is click on that alert. And then it'll show me the most current articles that have come out of the Journal of Sport Rehabilitation. So if I'm interested in learning more about eccentric contractions, I might click this. And then what we can do is then log in and then look at those articles, which is kind of helpful and neat, and we can stay current that way. Another way I really like to stay current is I just got into Twitter this probably past 6 months. Anybody who's ever had me in class knew that I was trying to figure it out and navigate it. And not a huge fan of social media, but one thing I really like about it is you can actually follow journals like the American Journal of Sports Medicine, and there's other journals and professional organizations that you can follow. And every time like a new interesting article comes out, they'll tweet it out. And especially current research is kind of neat because you just get a tweet and it's like a short sentence describing what it is and then a link to the website. So if you tweet or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, it might be helpful to start following those additional sources on Twitter. So this week for class, what we're going to be doing is you're going to be creating an annotated bibliography based off of a PICO question you wrote last week. I don't mind if you reuse the question, that's fine. But I do want you to select something that you're interested in and that you'd actually like to expand for the rest of this course. So if the PICO questions you wrote last week, you're starting to not really be as interested in them anymore, or you're finding that they're so specific that you might not be able to access a lot of literature on them, I'm going to have you go back and rewrite a PICO question that's you'd like to stick with for the next few assignments, because we're going to try to expand off of that one question. It'll just be helpful to you. You won't have to redo work throughout the course if you're able to expand on that one solid question. So I'm encouraging you to do that. Make sure you do all the readings, and please email me as always if you have any questions. I will talk to you all soon, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks.